that. Allahu Akbar. Now, if you go forward, right, you pass the flirting stage, you become serious about one another, you have been talking for some time, and you've exchanged numbers. Nowadays, you don't only exchange numbers, you're on WhatsApp and you exchange all sorts of things. Na'udhu billah. And then you meet up and so on. And before you know, you start to develop feelings for one another. And this is the beginning of love. Now, love is something which is true. It does happen. And it is a very strong feeling. If you fall in love, it is very difficult for you to come out of it. It is very difficult. It's like falling in water without getting wet. You will get wet. So if you do fall in love, you won't be able to come out very easily. So the best thing is to avoid that situation. Is to avoid coming to those feelings where it can be called as love. And what are those feelings? Those feelings are very, very overpowering. Love, this feeling, is extremely overpowering. When somebody falls in love, he can't think. You can't think rationally. It sort of overtakes your emotions. It overtakes your rational thinking. It overtakes your heart, your mind, and it destroys your future. It destroys your career, and it destroys your family too. This is what love is. Allahu Akbar. And we have seen so many love marriages fail that I feel like having a database somewhere. Anonymous database. Where people can go on and give a reason why their love marriage failed. So that it can be a deterrent for others. Right now, at the moment as we speak, in the last 1 month, 2 incidents have come to light. Both were love marriages. One of them, they are in love against everyone, they get married, and the guy and the girl, when she returns from her first holiday, what we could call honeymoon, she's returning from her honeymoon crying. And then when people ask her, why are you crying? He is not the guy I loved. He's changed. Well, within a week he's changed. He has. And the other one, the other incident which has just come to light is that this girl, she got married. Again, it was like, not intercaste within the Muslim, but, different communities. So inter-community marriage, people don't approve of it anyway, but there should be nothing wrong in it. But the father and the parents were not agreeing to the marriage. They still got married against everyone. And now, Allahu Akbar, the father is not talking to that girl for the past 13 years. The father is not talking to the girl for the past 13 years. She is not even allowed to go to her house. So she's not been to her house where she was born, where she was raised for 13 years. Father is unhappy. And not that after all this, she is happy. The husband has turned into a right monster. And he is taking advantage of this situation. And he says, where will you go? You have nowhere to go. He is treating her like a slave. He is treating her like a slave. Just because he knows that there is nobody who she can turn to. All the love is gone. And you know that girl, what she says? This is the punishment for what I have done to my parents. Now what happens with love? Allahu Akbar. When you fall in love, you see only those things that you want to see in that person. The things that you don't want to see, that you dislike, you just overlook it. Because you're so overwhelmed by the emotions, you don't see the things that you don't want to see. You only see things that you want to see. And I say that, for example, the girl is always in makeup before marriage. Whenever she meets the guy, she's got the makeup on, she's got the best clothes on because you're going on a date or whatever. Okay? And sometimes the guy has never seen the girl without makeup. Now when he wakes up the first morning and the makeup is off, he's looking at her and he says, what's this? It's like I never saw this side before. It happens. You never saw the reality, what was behind the makeup. And I go as far as saying that they don't only have makeup, I mean only women would have makeup, but men have makeup too. Not on their faces, but on their character. Because he is there to impress, she is there to impress. They don't open up. They only show their best part. Oh, very nice, you're being very nice and very helping and very caring. Because you're not living together. So there is makeup on the face and there is makeup on the character and nature of each other, which only comes off after marriage. And then you see, Allahu Akbar, this is not whom I married. This is not what I signed up for. I mean, I fought with my entire family. Against all costs, I tried to be with you, and you are not that person that I loved. Allahu Akbar. So, what happens before love is that the marriage, or before marriage, the love is at its peak. Okay? What happens with arranged marriage, and we'll come to that in a bit, is that the love is right there. There is no love at that point. You want to like each other. Okay? This is the beginning of relationship. It is on the ground. It is at the bottom. The only way it can go is up. The only way the love can go, if you don't know each other really well, if there is no love before, then the only way love can go after marriage is up. Whereas in love marriage, the love is right at its peak before marriage. You're mad about each other. But then after marriage, the only way it will go is down. There is only going to be disappointment. Only disappointment. And if it is an arranged marriage, and I'll tell you exactly what I mean by arranged marriage, okay? Not that you just go and sit and see who it is, right, on the day of marriage. No, that is not the concept nowadays. But in arranged marriage, for example, once you are married, you start accepting the person the way he or she is. And you start liking the way the person is. Okay? You don't have those high hopes. You have not seen something artificial before. You see the real person and slowly you start liking that person. And it is Allah Ta'ala who develops that love, inshallah. We are going to come to that later on, inshallah. So this is one problem with love marriage. The other problem with love marriage is that if your parents are unhappy. Now at this point when you are madly in love with each other, you don't care about the world. All you care about, I'm going to live, his love is my strength. And her love is my strength. And we don't need anybody else. It doesn't matter if he lives in a little hut or whatever. It doesn't matter if he doesn't have a big or nice job or whatever. Okay? This is what love is. You don't see it rationally. Okay? And we have seen so many people like they don't even match. Their families don't match. Their education don't match. Their background don't match. All they like about each other is that, he's being nice to me, she's being nice to me. We like the looks of each other and that's it. But that is not enough. Now, say your parents are not happy and you still want to get married. And you do behind their back or against their wishes. Tell me, these are the very parents who brought you to this world. Till now, they have been providing for you. They have been feeding you. They have been clothing you. The clothes you are wearing belongs to them. The food that you eat is theirs. Where you live or where you have been living for the past 20 years is their house. everything they did for you. And they sacrificed their life, because once a child comes into the family, you sacrifice your career, you sacrifice money, you sacrifice your time. The entire life is revolving around that child. And now that child has grown up, she is an adult, and in the most important decision of her life, she says, I don't want to know about my parents. It doesn't matter if they agree or they disagree. Believe me, if your parents do not agree, it will not succeed. It will not succeed. If you don't have their du'as, it will not. And there are so many cases, Allahu Akbar, so many cases in our community, in all the communities that we are. There are so many cases where love marriages fail. And one of the reasons is that they did not get the dua of their parents. Say if you like someone, why don't you go the legitimate way? It's not like, it's not guna to like someone in the sense that you see someone, you start liking that person, like, okay, he looks good or she looks good and her behavior is good and she's nice to people and she's fit for me. Before you make any move towards her, go the legitimate way. Talk to your elders. Talk to somebody to talk to your parents. There have been so many cases where, mashallah, it has been fixed in this way. You like someone, you come home, you tell them. If they agree, fine. If they don't agree, at least you have no feeling, you move on. You know that it's not going to work, my parents don't want it this way, fine, you move on. You don't have those feelings anymore. It is when you get to the stage where you have those feelings, then it is very difficult to come back. Like it happened with Musa alayhi salam. You know Musa alayhi salam? Who proposed for him? His wife. She liked him. And she said to her father, but not directly. Musa alayhi salam helped these two girls draw water from a well. And then he sat under the tree. And he was a fugitive at that time. And the girls take Musa alayhi salam to their father. The father is a Nabi, Shuaib alayhi salam. And now the daughter is saying to the father, Father, why don't you hire him? He is in need. Now the father is a Nabi, he looks through that. She is not only asking me to hire him, she is asking me to marry her to him. And so Shuaib alayhi salam goes to Musa alayhi salam and he says, I'm going to give you a job. Subhanallah, he needed it. And I'm also, if you take up the job, I will give my daughter in marriage to you. And they were married. But how did it all start? She liked Musa alayhi salam. And she told her father. So if you like someone, go and tell someone. If you cannot tell your father, tell somebody else to tell your father. And they will inshallah set it up for you. Go the legitimate way, not the other way. Because if you fall in love, it is very difficult to come back. Very difficult to come back. So don't let it go through that stage. And obviously when you fall in love, you must be chatting with that person, you must be meeting that person, you must be going out for dinner with that person. All these things are they lawful before marriage? So the very foundation of your marriage is unlawful. And if the roots are unlawful, do you think it's going to bring about a nice tree, a nice growth? No. Everything that happens after that will be a disaster. So nothing is right in a love marriage. Nothing. And for these reasons, I would say to all those people who are not married and are still not in love, leave it. Don't even think about it. Okay? Don't think about it. Inshallah, Allah has chosen someone for you. And she will be good. And he will be good. And Allah knows best. And you know, in the olden days, today I was in Jummah at Allama Sahab's Masjid in Manchester, and somebody phoned after Jummah. And actually this topic kept coming up all day today. Okay, they didn't know I was doing this program, but the topic came up. Allama Sahab mentioned something in the speech, and also after Jummah, we were sat in the office and somebody phoned. And he was going through the same thing with Allama Sahab, and he was saying about this couple, like they want to marry each other, but the parents are not happy. And Allama Sahab said, if they are not happy, make them happy. I mean, if you really want to get married, make them happy. Don't go behind their back. Don't run away. Just try and convince them. Wait till they agree. So if you're really madly in love with someone, you think you won't be able to live without that person, then wait till they agree. You don't need to marry somebody else. Parents can't force you to marry somebody else, but you can just wait. And you say, okay, look, this is the person I want, but I am not going to do it without your blessing. Unless you are...
5 मरतबा हुक्म दिया है। हम हर नमाज में कहते हैं